He didn't utter a single word when he walked in and saw us. Just stood still, keys in one hand, his wedding band in the other. I scrambled to pull the sheets over myself. Daniel, the man I believed I had feelings for, mumbled some half-formed excuse. But Caleb, my husband, didn't react the way I expected. No shouting, no demands for answers. He simply gave a small nod, calm, almost tender, and walked out, quiet, like a breath slipping from a sealed tomb. That silence clung to me more tightly than any scream ever could. Caleb was never one for theatrics. Every move he made was intentional. As a civil engineer, he was a man who measured life with precision, every plan drawn to the inch. That's how he loved me, too, with care, with patience, like a home he'd intended to live in for a lifetime. For 7 years, I was the center of that structure, until I shattered it with one reckless betrayal. And Daniel, he wasn't even worth it. He was chaos wrapped in charm, reckless, thrilling. That edge made me feel something again, until it turned on me like a knife. But Caleb? He didn't ask for explanations, didn't seek closure. He just vanished. The next morning, his suitcase was gone. By nightfall, his phone had been disconnected. I thought that was it. I thought I was free. I was wrong. A month later, the phone rang. Sheriff Lane's gravel-thick voice informed me they'd found a body at our old cabin near Lake Renwood. It was Daniel, he said, and they needed me to come confirm it was him. Daniel, dead. The world tilted. That cabin, it had been mine and Caleb's retreat. Off-grid, isolated. No one had been there in over a year. No one but the two of us even knew it existed. As I drove down the path, the gravel under my tires crunched like brittle bones. The trees whispered secrets in the wind. Inside, the sheriff's flashlight cut through the dim, casting shadows across the blood-soaked floorboards. The scent of rust and decay filled the air, thick, metallic. Like death had taken root. Daniel's body was bloated, skin pale and taut. His mouth gaped mid-scream, frozen in terror. Tied to a chair. His eyes gone. Something clawed at the back of my throat. And then, in the far corner, a red light blinked, quiet and steady, from a security camera. That's when I knew. Caleb had been here. 3 months earlier, I'd found a trace. Lipstick on his collar. Mauve, not a shade I'd ever wear. A crumpled receipt from a hotel bar in a town he had no reason to be in. When I confronted him, he lied, and badly. Something splintered inside me. But it wasn't the betrayal that crushed me. It was the precision. The same skill he used to build highways and skyscrapers, he turned toward deception. Quiet, careful deception. So I followed. I watched. I connected the dots. And then I made a decision. If he could hide things behind silence, so could I. If he could wound without words, then I could bleed him out with the same stillness. What I did with Daniel, it was never love. It was retaliation, pure and calculated. It wasn't about love, it was about power, taking it back. But Daniel grew possessive, jealous even. He threatened to expose everything to Caleb. Claimed I owed him more. Warned he could destroy it all. He didn't truly know Caleb. No one did. After the funeral, I returned to the cabin alone. The police said the scene was cleared, but I wasn't convinced. I brought bolt cutters. The door was secured with heavy chains. Inside, the air smelled sharply of bleach and dust. A lone chair remained in the middle of the room, but the real secret was hidden above. In the attic, tucked beneath a loose floorboard, I found a flash drive. Caleb always left little puzzles like this for me when we played scavenger hunts early on. He loved riddles and clues. Apparently, that hadn't changed. At home, I plugged the drive in. 9 videos appeared. The first showed Daniel walking into the cabin, a cocky grin on his face, carrying champagne, expecting me. The second revealed Caleb stepping out from the shadows, calm, gloved, and silent. What followed was methodical. No outbursts, no anger, just calm questioning, accusations, and facts. Caleb dismantled Daniel like a complex formula, forcing him to admit on camera every lie, every touch, every threat. The final clip showed Caleb staring coldly into the camera lens. You chose him. This is who he really was. And now, it's your burden to bear. Then he smiled, icy, definitive. I didn't cry or scream. I just sat there, rewinding it over and over. Hidden in that smile was the true revenge. Caleb knew I wouldn't go to the police. I couldn't. They'd question why Daniel was lured there, why the messages on his phone came from my number, why his last voicemail mentioned meeting me. Caleb made it look like I was the trap. Maybe I was. He left no prints, no digital evidence, only Daniel's guilt and mine. But I wasn't finished. I spent weeks analyzing the footage. Not just Caleb's actions, but his mindset, where he stood, how he timed everything, the rhythm of his moves. I learned his blueprint. And then I tracked it back to him. He had disappeared. No bank activity, no car registration. Like a ghost. But he slipped up once. The offshore account he kept for emergencies. I'd found it years ago and never said a word. Now I emptied it completely. $840,000 vanished in hours. I sent him a single message in return, a video clip of me, wearing the lipstick found on his shirt, holding the receipt, smiling. You wanted me to carry this. Now we carry it together. That was my final move. He has no idea where I am. But I know exactly where he watches. The burner phone rings once each full moon. I never pick up. I just let it ring. Control is quiet. Daniel's murder remains unsolved. I don't believe it ever will be. And I don't need to confess. This isn't guilt. It's closure. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it simply arrives, takes in everything, then leaves without a sound.